Guys, deluded Guna, our good man Sven, however you want to say his name, former Dortmund guy, helped with the scouting and stuff. We all know he's gonna come and join us. He's been speaking to, I think it was a German outlet, and a lot of people have added their spin on it, especially the newspapers in England. He's been speaking about why he left and what awaits the future. So in regards to why he left, he didn't say anything new. He said the Tunkel beef, we all know about that. He said he could have done without it, as we all know. That's some real guy stuff. Everybody knows when you get in an argument, there's stuff he could have done, and ultimately he was frozen out to a degree. Tuchel was isolated in several other departments. You're only as strong as your weakest link, and that is a weak link. You can't have fractured divisions within the club. It hurts the club. A board member said him being isolated was a mistake, but he's also said he's not mad at anyone at Dortmund. It is what it is. In regards to Arsenal, he said he didn't want to look back in his 60s and be thinking about it in a sense of what could have been. He wants to attack it and things like that. So it was an eye opener in regards to the interview as well, man. He also said, and it's true, and quite rightly, if you follow what the German and the English press say, they put him on quite a high pedestal, and then they expect him to find another Zagondu or Dembele in every transfer window. And for one, that's not simply possible. I mean, we'd love him to be able to, but it's not possible. And it would be alarming if he was able to find that all the time, because something would be wrong. You cannot find them talents all the time. So yeah, man. He said he could imagine himself staying in London for 10 to 12 years as long as his family's good. I mean, that's a good shout when you consider he's in his 40s now. Wenger will be done soon. This guy will probably manage it to 100, but he'll be done here soon. The next manager will be there. So yeah, man, the long-term vision for the club, and within 10 or 12 years, you'd like to see his work. Who is he brought in? Who has he identified? Who have we? Because it will happen. There'll be players that he's identified that are good, and we didn't sign them. And there were players he identified that he thought were good and are crap. That's the day in the life of a scout. We all make mistakes. Like, he said he's excited to work with Wenger. He can only learn from someone that's been in the games as long as him. He hasn't ruled out returning to Dortmund one day. But yeah, man, he also hasn't ruled out raiding them. He said he wants his team to win by all means necessary, and there is no gentleman's agreement in regards to buying from Dortmund. I rate that, to be honest. With you. So he done his thing, man. He also made reference, and I did like it, in that he is the boss. Well, he didn't say, we know he's a leader, but he don't like the term boss. He likes clear, honest, and hard-working individuals. He likes clear, honest, and hard-working analysis. That's what he wants to do. He wants a collective team. He's also, in regards to, do you remember when I said to you guys, he's only going to be strong as his weakest link in the team? There's no good getting him if he doesn't have 4, 5, 6, however many scouts or analysts to help him and as motivated as him. He's made reference to that. He said he needs a team. He can't do it alone. He needs a team. He's obviously going to get a team. There's an existing team here, which he'll have to cater to his vision and what he wants to do. And undoubtedly, he'll bring in a couple of his own men, his own motivated scouts and analysts, which he's touched on as well. He prides himself on open communication and equal footing and hard work, and that's these are the things you want to see in your football club. So yeah, man. Like, yeah, he there's no sure thing to success. He's also said signing me doesn't guarantee success on the sporting front or success in the transfer market, and that is very true. He's very modest. For someone that's achieved what he's achieved, you'd think he'd be a bit more up his own bum, but he's not. It's also alarming. I think it was Croft or something like that, one of his scouting members, who first recommended Kagawa when they went and got for him. I didn't know that, when a lot of us, me included, thought he was the one that went and found it. But you learn new things every day, to be honest with you. He said he's fired up for finding new talent, but again, he said that his team has to be willing to work hard and fired up to find these talents and things like that. It's alarming that he knew his last game was going to be Spurs. He said Spurs versus Schalke was his last game, so he knew he was leaving then. I mean, the Schalke and the Spurs games against Dortmund, obviously, that's alarming, because that happened a couple months ago or whenever. Like, it's mad, isn't it, how these things, like, when these things are actually worked out. It's crazy. I remember, off topic, but I remember once Munich, when they were signing Renato Sanches, they agreed, or they were in talks on the same night. They had a Champions League game against Atletico, and I was watching that, and I thought, ain't it crazy how we was watching this game, or somewhere in a restaurant, assumingly, details were being finalised on certain things. I always find these sort of things crazy. He's also said that he reports, as we already know, to Wenger and Sven, but the thing that I took home is that he said this is the best time to join Arsenal. This is the best time to move and leave a club in general, because October, November, and December are the best times, because they're the quietest in the transfer market. To a degree, he's him in it. He's been in the game. I ain't, so I'm gonna agree with him. But on my personal opinion, I don't believe it's ever a good time, because if I'm October, November, December, if you're going to move for targets in January, ain't you? You've been watching several bits of footage and several clips and things like that to see these players. So I don't necessarily believe there's any a good time, to be honest with you. Alarmingly, he has said he's watched a lot of English games, not as much as he wants to, and he'll obviously watch more now. But he said he's watched a lot of English games, well, a fair amount of English games, and there've been players on both sides that he can't suggest because they're not good enough. So I'll be keen to see how he fares in regards to the local market. Overseas, we know he does his thing. He's plopped players from all over the world, but he has to look at the local market now in regards to England. Crowley didn't work when he came here, but he eventually joined from a weaker club. So we'll be keen to see who he deems are good at lesser clubs, and if he's open to poaching talent. But yeah, man, guys, DG, I'm signing out. There's not much more to be said on that front.